In this lesson video, we are going to continue sketching our robot. But unlike before, we will be sketching in 2D using the grease pencil feature in Blender. There are two types of grease pencil. First is the annotation type, which is this tool you see here. And second is the object type, which will show up in the outliner if you create one. In this lesson, we will be using the grease pencil object type. Why? Because it allows us to use modifiers. One particular modifier that we are going to use is the mirror modifier. This way, we can sketch only on the right side and the left side will be generated automatically or vice versa. You cannot have this feature if you use the annotation type. First, make sure the 3D cursor is at the center of the world by pressing Shift-C. Go to the front view, then press Shift-A, and then choose Grease Pencil. Then choose Blank here. We can see we now have a new Grease Pencil object. Because it is an object, we can add a mirror modifier to it. Make sure it is set to X, which is the default. Now, if we have a Grease Pencil object selected, if we open the Interaction Modes pull-down list, we can see a unique interaction mode here called Draw. This is the mode where we can actually draw on the Grease Pencil object. We can see all of these drawing tools now available for us. You can draw in freeform, line, curve, etc. I'll just use the Draw tool up here and use the default pencil brush preset. Now, if we draw some brush strokes like this, we can see the strokes become symmetrical automatically. But the color is gray, which almost identical with the matte cap and the background color. We want the color to stand out more. To create a new color inside the grease pencil, we need to create a new material. So open the material panel, create a new material, change the color to a light blue color, something that we can see clearly in the viewport. We can rename the material to blue.light. We actually only need this one color for sketching. But in case you do need more colors, you can just add more slots and create new materials. Let's say you need a red color. Rename this to red. Now, when you draw, you are using the red color. To change the color, you can pick the color in the material panel. But picking it from up here is easier, as the properties panel might be used for displaying other things like modifier or data, etc. Now I'm switching from the mouse to my drawing tablet. So from now on, you may see the mouse cursor jump to a random location. Because Blender will read my pen pressure to determine the strength and the radius of the brush, I need to increase the strength value here to 1. And double the radius here to 50 pixels. Now, if you don't own a drawing tablet, you can also do this with your mouse. But it is just way easier to draw using a drawing tablet than using a mouse. Next, when doing sketching, we don't want the strokes to appear behind the objects or follow the default object depth sorting. We want them to be always in front. To do that, we can go to the object panel. In the viewport display section, you can find the in front option if you have this turned on. Now, if you draw some brush strokes again, as you can see, they are always be rendered as if they are in front of the other objects. After we've done all of those setups, we can now start sketching. I will be using only the light blue color. The upper torso of the robot is basically made of large cylinder. If you make a mistake, just use the eraser tool here to erase the brush strokes. Again, this is a sketching phase. So it is okay to make mistakes. In fact, the more mistakes and the more corrections you make in the sketching phase can avoid you from making large mistakes later in a 3D modeling process. From now on, the process will be mostly repetitive, so I'm speeding up the video now. Until this point, I decided that the front sketch is already good enough. To create the sketch for the side view, you can just use the same grease pencil object, but I prefer to use another grease pencil object so that later I can easily hide and unhide each of them independently. So let's hide the first grease pencil object. We can see we are back to the object mode automatically. Shift A and then choose grease pencil, then blank. To avoid confusion later, let's just rename these objects. I'll name this one gp.side and name the previous one to gp.front. Make sure the side object is selected. Go to the right view. Now, if we activate the draw mode, we don't see the colors we have before. This is because, just like the 3D object's materials, you need to assign the colors first to this grease pencil object. I'm not going to use the red color, but in case you need that color, you can add it like you add materials. Next, don't forget to activate the in front option, so our sketch will always appear in front of the other objects. After we set the grease pencil object correctly, we can start sketching the side view of the robot. I'm speeding up the video again now, as there is nothing new to explain. Okay guys, we are done now. Until this stage, we have the front sketch, which is this grease pencil object, then we have the side sketch, which is this object, and finally, the volume or the pose sketch, which is this object. Now, before moving on to the actual 3D modeling process, I will tweak these sketch objects here and there off the record. It will be too boring for you to watch, as I won't be using any new techniques in the process.